In this video, I'm showing you how I sew the head onto the body for my crochet amigurumi animals. I've listed the needles I'm using in the description, so let's just get started. Step 1 is to completely stuff the body. Step 2 is to figure out the position you want the head to be in. Find the ideal position by moving the head down and up or up and down, left to right, and then there's that cute tilt that you can try playing around with. Try holding that position and check it from a couple different angles, from the front, from side to side, and check the back. Take note of where that last round on the body meets the head. In step 3, we'll make a few anchors to hold this position as we stitch around the entire neck and head. Remember that yarn tail that was coming out of the head? Let's position it to exit the head where it's going to meet the back of the neck. So thread your needle onto that tail and insert the needle into the stitch on the neck that is close to the center, entering from the inside of the body and exiting the outside. Then insert your needle into the next stitch on the neck and back into the head, kind of like you're making a circle between these two pieces. And confirm the head is centered. Now you can use the longer yarn tail and repeat this type of circle, and that'll just secure the first anchor. Let's make the second one, which is going to be on the opposite side of this one. I'm going to use the white yarn tail for this. Double check the position you want before you get started. I like to eyeball the center point on the head and imagine where it's going to meet the neck. Make sure this yarn tail is coming off the center of the body, and then insert the needle into the head and back into the neck, only going through those top loops again. After that, double check the position again. I know this might be a slow process, but if you rush through it, you might end up with something that you don't like. And it's kind of hard to undo these stitches. When you're checking the position after that second anchor, the patch on the chest might make you feel a little bit off, so use the limbs to find a good center point on the dog. I think this position looks good, so I'm going to repeat this loop connecting the part of the head and the body. We have 2 more anchors to make, so I'll thread my needle back into the yarn tail that was originally coming out of the head. It's going to be the shorter one in this case. This time, I want to connect the side of the head to the side of the body. I'm going to pull the other yarn tails tight to get the benefit of the previous anchors we've made. Then I'll check the position and look for the stitches that line up with where I want the next anchor to be. I'm inserting my needle into the head next to the anchor we made behind the neck, and I want to exit around the side of the head where it's going to meet the neck. Now I'll insert the needle into the stitch on the neck going through just those top loops and pull it tight. And I'm going to check this position and make sure it's what I'm going for. I think this is going to tilt the head, so let's try this again. I think I need to adjust where the yarn tail is exiting from the side of the head. I'll move it down just a little bit and see what this does. Yeah, I think that's much better. So let's finish making this anchor by completing that circle between the neck and the head. This anchor is done, but we have one more on the opposite side to make. So I need my longer needle to get all the way over there. I'm going straight through the head, and I want to exit that head right where it's going to meet up with the neck. Before I make this last anchor, I'll check the position again and make sure I'm not pulling the head into an undesired position. I think I might need to move this yarn tail up a little bit. Let's see what this does. Yeah, this looks good. So let's finish up this anchor. Once that's done, check the position and make sure the dog looks the way you want it to. If everything looks good, put a knot in this yarn tail, and that's going to hold all those anchors in place. Okay, step 4 is to sew around the entire head and neck by bringing them together the same way we've made the anchors. And I've got a little bit of bad news. Somehow I wasn't recording when I demonstrated this step. I also missed recording this other step where you don't completely close around the entire neck. You leave a little bit of a gap so you can add some more stuffing. Adding stuffing into that area is just going to fill the neck and the space that is kind of empty between the body and the head. What that's going to do is give you a firmer neck, so if you want a little bit of a wobble, you can kind of skip that if you want. That brings us to step 5, which is to sew around the head and neck one more time. I got that part on camera. This time, we're going to make our stitches by going through the side of the single crochets of the stitches that are on the neck, and then go back into the head, kind of like you're doing the mattress stitch. This is going to pull the side of the single crochet stitches from the neck into the head. You want to take your time finding the right stitches to go through and where to insert your needle into the head. Everything may not line up nicely, so you just got to take your time and make sure you going through the right stitches at the right time. I think this adds a nicer join, but it can also stretch the stitches and distort the position of the head. So again, just take your time and do one stitch at a time. Right before I got to the chest area, I took the yarn tail over to the other side so that it wouldn't get in the way. Then I switched over to that white yarn tail and finished up the attachment between the chest patch and the head. Once I got through that chest patch, I took the white yarn tail under the arm and made a knot there. Then I just pulled the tail into the body and cut off the extra. Now we can get back to finishing off the rest of the sewing. After going around the head and the neck this second time, I switched to the longer needle. I want to take this yarn tail through the body towards the bottom where the legs are. I noticed there's a bit of a gap in one of the legs where it meets the body, and I can use this yarn tail to close that up. Well, it doesn't help that I overstuffed this puppy dog, and I've learned that when I crochet on camera, I'm a little less patient and I don't always keep the tightest tension. Anyway, then I made a knot and tucked it into the body before cutting off the remaining yarn tail.
Was this the first time you've used anchors? I hope the few tips in this video help you with this project and all the others to come. Next time, we'll finish this project by completing the collar and attaching it right onto the body. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and come back for the rest of the pattern. Thanks for watching.